correctly with the correct amount.
A very catchy song indeed. That was Believe Me by In My Coma. Their lineup consists of Justin, vocals, guitar, Laura, bass and vocals, Dave, guitar and vocals, and Mike on drums. Hi, DJ Tina here, host of HMTV Canada Easing. With me today is the brainchild for In My Coma, vocalist, songwriter, and guitarist Justin Johnson. Hey Justin, how have your live performances been in the Toronto surrounding areas? Have you been receiving a great turnout of fans attending?
It's been good. We're still relatively under the radar, which means that we don't get too much exposure unless we put forth the effort ourselves. But we've managed to play a couple of shows with some pretty great bands, and those ones that we've played with at those shows, we've drawn quite a few people. But, you know, there's also the other side of things. We've also played to empty bars. But either way, I think the main goal for those shows is just to have a good time. Whether you're playing in front of 5 or 200 people, you still want everyone to leave there thinking, hey, that band was great.
Does the band have a favorite city that they like to play in? And do you include all the songs in your playlist?
We haven't traveled too far to play just yet. But right now, in Ontario, I think we'd all agree that playing a Toronto show is usually the most fun. I think that's where the music scene is most adoptive to our sound. So we always get some great feedback from people that stick around for our set, and when they talk to us afterwards, it's usually in Toronto that we get the nicest comments. Yeah.
Having listened to your song tracks, Believe Me and No One to Turn To, I really dig the industrial electronic sounds and the lyrics. Can you tell us who writes the lyrics for In My Coma, and do all the band members contribute to the writing of In My Coma lyrics?
Well, typically I write all the songs. The electric sounds are there just because we all like to experiment with different noises, which is why Dave, Laura, and I have crowded pedal boards for every show. Some sounds work and some don't, so it's fun to find something that legitimately fits the song and then recreate it live. Lyrically, for Believe Me, I just wanted something to make people think. There are many ways to hate someone that deliberately does something terrible, but only a few ways to empathize with them. And when I wrote the song, I wanted to try to see how hard it would be to understand something from a very different point of view.
Okay, so do all the band members share the same influences for the music?
I think there are many different influences that come across. Some of us have similar interests. Laura Dahl loves anything from the birth of rock until about 1996, and very few bands beyond that era. Whereas Dave is definitely into the darker side of rock, and Miles is definitely a pop man. Myself, I like anything driving and catchy, which ranges from Queens of the Stone Age to Depeche Mode. But together, everyone finds a place in IMC, and it works live and in the studio, so that's all you can ask for.
Now, you said you'd like to try and experiment with the new ideas or the sound. If any of the other band members come up with new ideas on their instruments for your songwriting, do you usually go with it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I write songs, usually I throw in guitar parts here and there, or electronic sounds here and there. But Laura always does her own thing with the bass and makes it her own driving sound, which is something I can't really do when I record it. And then Dave always comes forth with these different guitar ideas, and he might change a solo up a bit or use a different effect on it. And whenever we get something like that going, I just roll with it, you know? And if it doesn't work, everyone will talk about it afterwards, and we'll say, no, I think the original way is better. But if it does work, then there you go, you've got something better now. And as far as the layout of the songs, it's not just our producer that tries to change any of that stuff up. It's all four of us. If we're playing something and we feel like an intro should be longer, and, you know, if Miles chimes in and says that intro would be awesome live if we played it longer, we all go with it. So it's very open when we're in rehearsal.
Have you ever come up with a certain riff that wasn't supposed to have been there in the song, or was a quirk and you decided to go with it because it sounded good?
Actually, yeah. When we were recording one song, we accidentally caught people talking in the background, but then in the verse underneath the music, it sounded pretty cool, so we opted to do something like that in the song. We didn't necessarily keep those sounds, but it was those sounds that influenced us or introduced us to this different element that we could throw underneath. So we ended up putting some sort of creepy whisper underneath the opening intro a little bit.
What inspires or motivates you to write these lyrics based on themes of death, darkness, fear, fused with ambiguous elements of hope and human potential?
Well, I think in that regard, that's just life. You can look at life as one big time clock ticking backwards towards something or nothing, or you can look at it as an opportunity to do something more. It's either your time to waste or your time to shine. And I like the contradiction. I also like Dave's idea for the album title, Magnets and Miracles. I think one of the many possible interpretations of that title fits what I just said completely.
Are some of the themes based on past experiences that you've gone through?
I mean, that's a difficult question to answer. Of course, I'd have to say yes, but if you asked me to narrow in on something in particular, probably wouldn't be able to give you anything concrete. But I mean, everything we do is based on things that have happened to us before, and if a certain experience hadn't happened, I wouldn't be who I am today, and probably wouldn't be doing what I am doing today.
Can the fans request Believe It or No One to Turn To on the Edge 102.1 currently?
I don't think so just yet. They've played Believe Me on there before, but talking to our management and with the band, we're going to wait until we have our debut EP out, which will, of course, feature Believe Me and then 4 more of our songs. We've got a pretty good idea of which ones we'd like to see, but we're going to talk about it, and once we go back into the studio this summer, we'll crank out 4 more songs, release the EP, and then we'll push for radio play.
Okay. Have you created any videos from your song tracks?
Not so much. We haven't created any videos per se. There's some live performance videos, and then you can listen to the song Believe Me on YouTube with a collage of pictures going across. But no actual videos just yet.
What I dig about In My Coma style music is that all the songs have a catchy vibe that stays with the listener. Have the fans been requesting more songs on your MySpace player?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We get messages and comments asking for more music, to the point where we put up a live video from our Edge show with a new song on it called Hit Them Down Kid, which will probably be on the EP, and we put that up just to satisfy some of our more curious fans. But we're going into the studio this summer, and if all goes well, we should have songs up before too long.
Now, what have been the challenges so far to date with the band in laying down the song tracks to the recording?
I think when we're in there, the studio is a completely different environment, so there are always little things that need to be tweaked here and there, and I've never had to tune my guitar so many times in my entire life. But there aren't so many challenges to us when we're recording our parts. We all know our parts really well. I think we end up challenging ourselves when we ask, what more can we do? What can we do to make this better now? And we push ourselves to do just a bit more, which, with the one song we've done so far in the studio, really seemed to pay off, and I can't wait to do it with the other songs.
Does the band have anyone or an engineer helping them mixing and mastering all their music production?
Well, our deal with our label in Toronto is that Trevor Kustiak is going to produce the EP and the eventual album, And working with him in the studio is great because he's so open-minded about everything. And, if we throw in an idea, he'll lean back on his chair and he'll nod. He'll be like, try it. But as far as mixing, we have a friend of the labels, Mark McAway, who was in Moist
Awesome.
back in the 90s. He's mixing our songs, and it's great working with him, too, because if you have any changes you'd like to see back and forth, he will send you mix after mix after mix, just trying to get exactly what you're looking for. And then one of the most exciting things was we sent the song off to Sterling Sound to have it mastered.
Mm-hmm.
And it was mastered by some of the same people that did Hotel California by the Eagles, and then Laura Dahl really liked the fact that they did Celebrity Skin by Hole. So that was a cool experience, and when we got it back, just listening to our original tracks, and then the final version after all of these different steps, it was mind-blowing.
That's very impressive. The people who are mixing and mastering, they got impressive backgrounds of who they worked with in the past.
Well, that's the nice thing about working with Trevor and Mary at the studio is that they have so much experience and they know exactly the right people to turn to, and then it's nice to sit down and talk and figure some of these things out and then to hear what their plans are. And it's really exciting for the band, too.
What I like about the band's lyrics is that it's the kind of themes that are very strong in imagery, much the same way an artist would paint a pic. It makes you think of a cover design with the band members splashing paint at each other. Has the band thought of any art ideas for the cover for their album?
Well, I think we named ourselves In My Coma on purpose, for basically the reason that you were just describing. We came up with a name that would suit the band's desire for more of an image-conscious album.
Okay.
And I mean that in an imagery sense, as well as what the band looks like. The band name allows for lots of cool image ideas, from something dark and heavy to something melodic and peaceful, which also fits back to the themes we were discussing lyrically. It fits the lyrics well. We have some ideas for the album artwork as well, but nothing's set. But exactly what you said is what will be the interesting image that we use for the album cover.
Now, do you let fans contribute their ideas for cover album art?
Oh, for sure. If anyone has an idea, it comes through, and if it fits, then it's perfect. I mean, Dave's the one that came up with the title for the EP and the album, so if someone comes up with something and everyone feels it's a great idea and it fits, then we'll use it for sure.
If the bands come up with something, are you going to hold a contest on which one you're going to choose from for the fans?
Well, I don't think any of us have thought about doing anything like that, but it could be fun.
Yeah, it could be.
We could do different things, throw all the ideas into a hat and just leave it to chance.
Yeah, exactly, because you never know what you can come up with.
Exactly, yeah.
Has In My Coma created a street team yet to help them kick the front door down and spread the word about their music?
We've actually had a couple offers on our MySpace page of people wanting to start a street team for us. So we've contacted one person, and we're just getting some of the basic ideas down on what it would encompass. But I think that will be going on pretty soon, especially for some of our shows coming up in Toronto the next month.
Now, when it comes to internet, how has the internet been helping market your music? Do you find that digital sales are where it's at, or do you find that when you go performing live shows and selling merchandise and CDs, that's better than the digital?
Well, I think it depends on the way you look at it. Our manager was recently on Explore Music with Alan Cross, and when they were talking about this exact issue, and for a band like Evans Blue, they make way more money selling a CD via iTunes rather than through HMV or something like that. Evans Blue is the other band signed to our label right now, and they were signed to Hollywood before and released an actual album to stores. But now that they've sold or sent one to iTunes, they make about $7 per album. Unfortunately, though, for us, we don't have the street credit that they did when they decided to go to iTunes. So I think it's a kind of a double-edged sword. We can get our name out there pretty well, but if our name's not already out there, then it's harder to sell via the internet.
What's the band's focus for 2009, like, and what they wish to achieve, such as the places where would you like to go to tour and that sort of thing?
Well, right now I think the focus for the band is relatively simple. I think we just want to make sure that every single show is strong, and we want to create an EP that encompasses our live performance abilities as well as our creative musicianship. And once we get that going, I think it's going to be just exciting to see how it develops from there. But those are our main goals, and everyone believes that if we get those goals into fruition, then everything else will find its way into place.
And once everything falls in its place, where's your favorite place? Like, where would you like to tour if you had a chance to tour anywhere in the world?
Well, I was born in Europe. I was born in a small city in England called Guildford, and I haven't been back there since I was 12, so I definitely think one of the places that I would like to go is just into Europe, England, France, all over there. And I think that's an area where our music would be received rather well as well.
That's what a lot of musicians are saying right now. They're saying much the same thing.
I've heard great things about Europe
Yeah.
and going there. I mean, from bands like The Killers talking about how awesome Europe is to even smaller bands from Toronto talk about how awesome it is to play in Europe. So, you've got both sides of the spectrum praising that continent.
Right. It'd be interesting for sure.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up our interview, do you have any shout-outs to friends or fans?
Just the people that are coming out to see us play live. Thanks a lot for all the support.
Thank you, Justin, for taking the time for this interview. Horns high, you rock.
Oh, thank you very much.